Hello, kind of a somber setting tonight. And the first two videos that I started, I was so somber, I would have put you to sleep without getting any points across. So I'm starting over again. I'm trying to pick my energy up a little bit, but it is a serious subject that I'm talking about tonight. And the discovery of it was prompted by this. Let's see if you can figure out what this is. Two little hands, the bottom of a torso, and a head without the stocking cap that used to be attached. Odd things. Well, my daughter recently moved, was going through some things. She found this teddy bear and she sent a picture to me and said, "Do you recognize this? I don't recognize this at all. It's not mine." And I said, "Yeah, that was my beloved teddy bear when I was little. Wonder where it came from." I don't remember putting him in a box. I just don't remember seeing him for years, but there he was. She came over, brought him to me. What I remember is that my mother allowed my sister to make my teddy bear her own, and she would suck on his stocking cap, had a little tassel on it, some kind of end, as I recall. And she eventually got it so soggy that the top of the cap had to be cut off. So he just had a little bob. I'll try to remember to put a picture up before I inadvertently wrecked him. I'm not going to say killed him because he's still here in spirit. So he came to me and I wasn't sure what to do with him. I posted in the group that I run and I said, I know he's here for a reason. I know I'm supposed to make some discoveries because of him. I don't really want anything to do with him though. I was done with him long ago and I know there's something to why that is. He just was ruined for me after he was allowed to be with my sister and to be treated the way he was. And when he came to me, it was more than just the cap being stubby. He had a cut over his eye. He had a lot of cuts in his t-shirt that had been mended. I didn't remember any of those. Anyway, it seemed wrong to just throw him away. It seemed disrespectful. I had loved him at one time. Burning him or burying him seemed wrong too. One lady suggested that maybe I wash him and try to spiff him up. And so that's what I did. I knew he wouldn't tolerate the washing machine, so I soaked him in a tub with some soap and water. But then he was just a big, huge, heavy, soggy blob of bear. And I thought he'd be okay in the dryer. I miscalculated. He was not. When I opened it up, the stuffing was everywhere, some orange dust. Man, I've had to clean out that thing and it's still showing up. It was a mistake. I took it as a sign that I'd been hoping to make light of my childhood and how that made me feel to have something that was so important to me be forced from my arms and to be shared with my sister, who then tainted him in my eyes. And don't get me wrong, it's not that I was a child that objected to sharing. It's just that so many things revolved around my sister, and that included bad behavior and me being told that's just the way she is. She has her tantrums, she has her fits. Nah, she doesn't act very nice, but it's just the way she is. So let her be. Anyway, my thought had been to patch him up, and apparently Spirit's message to me was, you don't patch that stuff up. You can't make it as if it was different than it was. And so then I thought to transform him. I'm not sure if I will be capable of anything. Not that good of a sewer, but I knew my reaction to thinking he was just ruined beyond anything that I could give my attention to was odd. And then I got to thinking, when I was younger, I used to be in a job where we would travel every couple of weeks, and I was a court reporter. The court reporter would travel with the lawyer to an out-of-town county seat, and I left my car parked at the office when I got back, and it was a sexy little 2-seater Fiat, by the way. I loved that car. The whole side had been bashed in, no note. I went inside, and luckily someone had seen a very old lawyer run into it and then act as if it hadn't happened. Maybe he didn't even notice he was that old, kind of past his prime to be working. Anyway, they got his insurance information, and I had the car repaired, and no one ever would have known about the damage, but I did, and that car was ruined for me. I sold it quickly for less than it was worth. It just was ruined for me. Now, those are odd reactions, and they don't make sense until the big discovery. I was talking about those odd reactions to a lady, and she said, "Oh, that kind of sounds like damaged goods syndrome." I had never heard of it. Apparently, it's quite common among children that have been sexually abused, and I have yet to find a whole lot about it. I think maybe the term has changed, and so what I'm finding is old and sparse. But I'll read about it and explain, hopefully. I'm struggling with this a little bit, how it correlates that, to me, something becomes damaged to the point that it doesn't have value anymore. Because honestly, that's how I've been looking at myself. So this is what the syndrome is. When children are sexually abused, they incorporate within their self-esteem the belief that they are no longer whole or perfect or worthy. They are now damaged, worthless, and unworthy of love and good things coming to them. This sense of damaged goods can set up a dynamic of self-sabotage and self-harm that can remain for many years, if not their entire lives. Damaged goods can be feelings of guilt and responsibility for the abuse or the consequences of disclosure. And that can be, where they have spoken of the abuse from a family member and they're taken out of the family. Everyone blames them. The things, let me go back. I'll just probably screw it up. He or she has struggled with confusion and ambivalence prior to disclosure, and following disclosure, some or all of the things she feared came to pass. Victims experience a range of emotions and act out in predictable ways. They later engage in self-destructive behaviors and experience a range of emotional and psychological problems and health effects. how I reacted to my car after it was hit, how I reacted to my teddy bear, is how I have reacted to myself, considering myself damaged goods, not worthy of care and attention and love, and not considering that other people will find me worthy of those things either. So I have adamantly refused to do healthy things. Not worth it. Damaged goods. I have put up with a lot of behavior from people in the past that basically, I suppose, would show that I was a doormat. I have been a huge people pleaser. Now that makes sense because, after all, by me doing for them, giving them things, I am compensating them for allowing damaged goods into their life, me. When I was a young woman, so grateful to have any man pay attention to me, have interest in me. Didn't think I could expect a real relationship or fidelity. Never thought about why. Well, damaged goods. I have seen myself through all these years as subpar because of the abuse. And it's a big eye-opener because so much of my behavior as I look back now makes total sense. Someone in the recent months expressing interest in me, I can't accept it. And if there's the smallest little slight, I'm overreacting and taking it so personally. Well, now that makes sense too. Oh, he noticed. He noticed now. I'm not whole. I'm not worthy. I've been damaged. He noticed that now. And that's why he's not replying to me, or that's why I haven't heard from him. You know, all these things that set up freakish behavior that would drive any man away. And it just makes so much sense to me. So, that's a lot of rambling. And maybe I haven't put it together very well, but the point is, there is this syndrome, damaged goods syndrome. I am sure there are several people out there, men and women, who have been abused and have been going through their lives in the same way I have, blind to the fact that the way they react, the way they view themselves, what they expect out of life has been tainted, is affected by this syndrome. You know, for instance, I've never been able to explain it, but it's almost like every bad thing that has happened to me, and there's been a fair amount, I somehow deserved or brought it on myself. And through all the personal work I've been doing in the last few years, all the healers I have seen, they think, you know, snap, magic has occurred. You should be healed. It never is. And, you know, it has occurred to me, something in me doesn't believe I deserve to be healed. You know, it's just something that I'm having a hard time articulating, and probably I should have planned it out a little better. But as I've told you before, I can't script things out. I just kind of fly by the seat of my pants and say what comes to my mind. Sentences may not flow. Maybe I'll get lost in the middle. Maybe none of this makes sense. But the point is, there has to be more information to be found about this. I'm going to be digging for it. I know there have to be other people that will watch this and go, oh, damn, this makes a lot of sense to me. With me, I still have a lot of years repressed with just little things floating in and out that tell me why I still have the rest repressed. But there can be help for this, even if it is just to realize this is what we're operating under. I think just to acknowledge our wounds and to realize the why of things is empowering. And the knowledge may not be full knowledge, but it's some knowledge, and it gets us on our path to healing. I'm not sure where I'm going to go with this. I'm not sure what the recommendation is. Like I say, I think maybe they've changed the term to something else, and that's what I need to be Googling to see what kind of therapist might help someone with this. I tend to do a lot of my best healing on my own. Maybe it's just because I'm such a stubborn cuss and I have to feel like I have some responsibility myself. I'm not sure. But what I really want to say is we're not damaged goods. It may be how we've been living our whole lives. Our inner children may be screaming, oh yes, we are. We brought it on ourselves, or we'll never be whole, whatever the inner child is saying. But we are not damaged goods. We suffered some damage. Maybe we suffered a lot of damage, but that doesn't make us as a whole damaged. It actually makes us fucking strong that we have survived it. We are not less than. We're exactly where we're supposed to be, having gone through what we were supposed to go through. And now with this discovery, we can work on finding some healing, even if all it is the whys of how we've been living our lives and how we've been going through it. And maybe it's enough that the next time we are choosing something self-harming or self-destructive, we go, wait a minute, this is part of that syndrome. I don't have to go here. I know what's going on now. Then that's a lot of value right there. Maybe that's the first steps on the road to healing. I'm not sure what to say. I'm no therapist. I'm just the poor schmuck going through it right now and hoping to share it in case there's someone else out there that needs that same aha moment. I'm sure there are positive affirmations that one could find to help through this. I'm sure there are therapists that specialize in this. I know there's healing. But even without it, I want to say we are not damaged goods. We have survived the damage. We will continue to survive. It's made us very strong. And the people we are right now are exactly as we're supposed to be. I don't know what to say other than that. I'm sorry you've gone through what you've gone through. And I love you.